Alright guys, so this is going to be something a little different. What this is exactly is this is more so a review type of thing for games that I know for a fact that I couldn't play, or it would just take up my channel on YouTube unless you guys really just want me to play it. But this is more so for games that I play by myself that I don't upload. I got the idea to start reviewing games in my own opinion because I see so many people doing it. I think a little bit differently from most people when it comes to these sort of games. I figured it would be refreshing to get a new sort of take and opinion on things. So welcome to what I hope is like the start of something really different from what most people do. So let's talk about Fallout 4. If you clicked on this video expecting me to just completely shit all over Fallout 4, like it's the worst game I've ever played, or it's just oh so disappointing because it didn't jump out at my face and it wasn't the best game ever, or if you came to this video hoping that I praise Fallout 4 as the best game ever and the best experience I've ever had, you're gonna be disappointed. I don't tend to do either with games. I generally I think most games I play are good, and that's what I consider to set me apart from most other people when they review these games. Is I don't nitpick at stupid shit. What I mean to say is I'm not a very whiny gamer. Most people tend to find every little reason to whine about something in a game so they can call it disappointing, and what other stupid shit do they say? A letdown, and just all a bunch of stupid shit. Let's go ahead and talk about Fallout 4. Let's start with the good things about Fallout 4. This is a very, very addicting game, and I mean very, very addicting. Like, I make YouTube walkthroughs and everything, but since I know for a fact I can't play this game or it would just take over my channel on YouTube, and I really care more about playing a whole bunch of games than playing one game continuously that just gets me a lot of views. I go to work in the morning, and before I even get ready to go, I try to squeeze in some time to play it. I don't care if there's like 10 minutes before my bus comes. I'll try to squeeze in some kind of Fallout 4. So how does this game compare to Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas? In a lot of ways, it is better than both. I'm not going to compare it to 1 and 2 because I've never played 1 and 2. Isometric RPGs are not my thing. I can tell you that right now. Hate me if you want to, they're just not my thing. I never liked Fallout 1 and 2. I probably never will. And if that offends you, I'm sorry. It's just not my thing. But how does this game compare to Fallout 3 and New Vegas? I'd say it's a lot better than both, and for several reasons. For one, the story itself is so far a lot better than what it was in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. In Fallout 3, it was, basically just find your dad. That was it. In Fallout New Vegas, it was find the guy who killed you and kill him. And then you had to choose a bunch of factions from there to determine how you wanted to end the game. In Fallout 4, it's more personal. It's not I guess you could say it's not really completely RPG in the fact that you don't create your own story per se, but I mean it's very better than Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. For the most part, it is exactly what Bethesda said it would be. For the most part, you pretty much, from as soon as you exit the vault, you're free to do whatever you want. The only problem with that is, this is moving more on to the cons. The only problem with that is that they did this rubber banding system, or whatever you want to call it. And I guess in some ways that's more RPG-like than Fallout 3 and New Vegas were, in that they kind of sacrificed more of the open world nature for a more RPG like experience. And I know that's a weird thing to say, because a lot of people keep whining about the fact that some of the RPG elements are gone. The problem with the rubber banding system is that should you walk into an area, should you want to explore the map very early on and just, do the classic Fallout discovery thing, you're going to run into a lot of trouble, for the reason that since the rubber banding system is in place, you're going to come into contact with areas that you really shouldn't be in, because they're like several levels higher than you are. And that became a problem for me very early on when I was doing a quest line for Kate here. And I ended up getting to a vault to help out with her quest line, and when I got there, everybody was a significantly higher level than me, and it was by far one of the most annoying experiences I've had in this game so far. And that I guess that's one of the things I dislike, is that in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, you could go somewhere, and when you went to that place, sure, the enemies might be tough, but they're not so tough that it forces you to come back at a higher level and do better. Like with Fallout 3 in New Vegas, I think for the most part the wasteland got more dangerous as you leveled up. For example, in Fallout 3, you wouldn't see death claws. They might have been around, but I think they were very rare. You wouldn't see death claws until you were a very high level. But whereas in Fallout 4, they basically show up in certain areas regardless of what level you are. And I mean that's not too bad. That's fine. I mean, it makes more sense for them to be there. But what it doesn't make sense is for like enemies. Like I've encountered, what was it? It tends to happen more so with like what's that group? The Gunners or something like that. I take it they're one of the higher tiered factions in the game. The Assaultron robot thing is like ridiculously overpowered, like almost frustratingly overpowered, like, and they have this attack that pretty much one hit kills you, and it doesn't matter what level you're on, and it's pretty ridiculous. So I guess that's a con. Another con, I don't know if you can see it in this gameplay video, is that the gunplay it's pretty solid. It's a lot better than it was in 3 in New Vegas, and that's more so of a pro. But the con with that is the third person aiming is still as bad as it ever was, if not worse than it was in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, with third person camera, if you shot something, you wouldn't really deal with much recoil in that mode. And I tend to play Fallout in third person. I really only use first person, and unless it's like in an interior space where the camera's just so terrible that I can't see what I'm aiming at, I can't see my character or anything. For the most part, I tend to play Fallout in third person, and it becomes harder to do that in Fallout 4 because of the fact that whenever you aim a gun and you shoot it, it recoils all over the place. Like it's bad, to the point where I'd say a good 30% of your shots are gonna miss, and that would be fine and dandy if it was a problem in first person too. I mean, I guess you could say it makes it more realistic, but it's not a problem in first person. In first person, when you aim, you pretty much hit your target, regardless of recoil. Unless the recoil is just absolutely out of this world, you're gonna hit your target. In Fallout 4, this is not the case for third person, and that's probably one of the biggest downsides for me, in my honest opinion. I know some people play the game in first person, some people play it in third, some people play it in both. I really only use first person when absolutely necessary, or when I'm wandering the wastes and I'm like getting tired of running, so I just kind of switch from first to third to just kind of get a different perspective. But for the most part, I like to play in third. That's a con. Let's move on to a pro. The armor system is it's a lot better than it was in New Vegas in 3. In New Vegas in 3, for example, with leather armor or the vault suit, you had to find specific versions of those that were like armored, and oftentimes some of the pieces on it were like really ugly. Like, I remember there was this, I don't know if it was a mod that I was playing or if it was the legit vanilla Fallout 3 New Vegas, but it was armor called metal armor, and some of the parts looked really cool on it, but it had this stupid bulky look to it, and it just threw me off. That's not a problem for the most part in Fallout 4, because you create your own armor, or you find them off people in the wastes. It's basically a layered armor system, and I haven't seen a lot of people go in depth as to how it works. How it works is, for example, you have the vault suit, right? The vault suit is the base armor. What that means is no matter what armor you put over that, that's what's going to show. And then after that, you have your armor layers. What that does is it's what you put over that armor. For example, let's say you have on the vault suit, right? And you find a raider or something, and you kill that raider. 9 times out of 10, that raider is going to have had some armor pieces on them, because in Fallout 4, walking around with no armor on is pretty stupid, and most NPCs that are hostile don't do it. So, for example, let's say that raider had on a leather arm and a leather leg and maybe a metal chest piece. You can take any one of those and put it on your own character, and that goes over your base armor piece, which is all fine and dandy because it allows you to really create a unique look for your character. My character right now looks pretty stupid because I went to a vault and got these rare combat armor pieces, and I'm really only wearing them because I didn't realize I could create my own armor pieces at the workbenches. So now that I know that, I'm probably gonna ditch this stupid combat gear because it makes me look bulky. I typically like to wear the leather armor type stuff. Another one of the biggest cons for me is the whole Molotov, pretty much the Molotovs. I don't know if you guys have heard people complain about this in their reviews, but the Molotovs in this game are out of control. I mean, completely out of control. Like, what is it? Super mutants in particular throw the Molotovs every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds. And, like, it pretty much makes fighting them in particular one of the most annoying things, because as soon as you get spotted, here come 18 Molotovs flying your way, and there's pretty much no dodging something like that. So you pretty much just have to take it in stride and hope that you have some stim packs, or you've killed enough animals out in the waste to have enough meat, or you've picked up enough junk food to get you back up to health, because as you know, you can't fast travel and get away when you're in combat. So Molotovs, in my opinion, really need to be toned down. But let's move on to a pro. Pro for me, and I know this is going to come as a shock to you, is the dialogue system. I know a lot of people don't like it, and there's a mod out there to change it. A mod I'd probably pick up, but the dialogue system itself, I just think it looks a lot more aesthetically appealing than Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas did. I see a lot of people complain that the dialogue choices in this game, the way they look, they're very vague, and they don't give a very accurate description, and it's more of a guessing game, and I don't deny that. But for the most part, a lot like in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, the options don't really matter too much. And I know some people will say, hey, they mattered in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, but they didn't matter that much. For the most part, you still got the same responses, and the responses of the NPCs were kind of different to accommodate the fact that you had said something completely different in the options, I guess. So, yeah, the dialogue system in this game isn't as bad as people make it sound. The only issue I have with it so far is the voice protagonist himself. Like, a lot of times you'll say something and he'll just, like, sometimes, I mean, like, I take nothing against the voice actor. He did a very fine job. It's just a lot of times what he says and how he says it doesn't really, give as much impact as it could. Like, for example, since I have Kate as a companion, I tend to have to be a more selfish, neutral, mean type character. And a lot of times the things he says, or it's not really the things he says, it's more so the way that he says them that kind of just makes it seem like even when you're trying to be a mean person, he's still kind of being a big old softy. And that brings me to another con, is that with the dialogue system, well, not really with the dialogue, there's not really a way to be evil per se. I mean, sure, you can go out and kill some NPCs, you can go out and steal some stuff, but there's not really a way to be an evil character. And I mean, this is the only time that I'll kind of knock a game for something that really doesn't too much matter to me, because oftentimes I'm more of a good guy, but Kate's taught me to be more of a neutral character just to make her happy, because Kate's bae. But there's not really much of an option to be an evil, like, kill everyone, most vile person you'll ever meet type of character. And I mean, that's kind of a letdown, but it's not oh my god major. Like, it's something you get over pretty easily, unless you're like one of those people that completely role play as different people. Like, when I play a game like this, an RPG like this, I tend to make a character that's as close to myself as possible. I tend to try to put myself into the game, and some people don't do that. Some people make completely different characters and want them to act a certain way. I guess it's more of an artistic thing in that sense, as it's more of like creating your own creation, I guess. And in that regard, I can see how not having a option to be completely just over the top evil would be a bit disappointing to some people. But yeah, that's more of a con for me too. On to a pro. The crafting in this game, I don't know if I've covered the crafting yet. The crafting in this game is very, very well done. I feel like sometimes it's a little too demanding in what some of the gun mods require. For example, I hear a lot of people complaining about, or I see a lot of people complaining about having to use adhesive, but I rarely, like, they run out of adhesive very easily. That rarely happens to me. What I tend to run out of is screws. Screws in this game are just absolutely ridiculously hard to find sometimes. I think they come in like toys and typewriters and that sort of thing, but it can be very annoying to want to build a mod only to find out that you need you need more of one thing, and that one thing is either screws or adhesive. Most of the time for me, it's screws. That's what I tend to run out of. But as far as the power armor goes, that's another thing that's hit or miss with some people. In Fallout, I rarely ever use power armor. I think in Fallout 3, I started to use it at the end, just because the game kind of forces you to side with the Brotherhood of Steel for some reason. That I know of. It's kind of mandatory in the story that you do that. I rarely used it outside of like select few sections at the ending of 3. And it's still the case with Fallout 4. In Fallout 4, the power armor is more of its namesake. It's power armor. It's pretty much a fucking tank. But the problem with that is it runs on what's called fusion cores, and mentally, yeah, that makes sense. I think in lore, that's what power armor runs on. I don't really dig too much in the Fallout lore, but I think that's what it runs on, canon-wise too. But the problem is, unless you're around the Brotherhood per se, fusion cores are pretty hard to come by. It's more of a chance thing. Like, I think I've put a lot of hours into the game by now, and I've only run into like 8 fusion cores, and I just like I rarely ever use power armor in the first place, but I'm less inclined to use it because the fusion core thing, and it adds a depth of challenge, I guess, and more of a depth of trying to look for resources, and that's cool. But I don't know, it just kind of puts me off that I have to search for, like, they're not easy to come by. I could see if maybe you could purchase them from somewhere if you didn't want to join the Brotherhood of Steel, but for the most part, in all my hours of playing, I've only come by 7 or 8, and I still have all 7 and 8 of those in my little hub, because I really use the power armor. I'm not really gonna dig too much into the settlement mode because I don't use it. Some people do. A lot of people are really interested in it. It was never my thing. Hell, when I play The Sims, I don't even build my own house. I always buy one pre-bought. So I can't really speak too much on the settlement mode, other than the fact that as soon as you put something in your settlement, like let's say you build a bed, you're wherever you built that bed, even if it's just a bed, the game registers it as, you know, you building a settlement, so your settlement will get attacked, and just out of nowhere, your little home that you built will get attacked by super mutants or something like that. I guess that's more of an homage to, I don't know if it was Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, because I didn't play it, but I didn't play either, but I heard that happens a lot in those games too. So I guess it's kind of a throwback to that, and that's all fine and dandy. For the most part, it's a very addicting game. A lot in this game is done right. The gunplay in first person is absolutely phenomenal compared to what it was in 3 and what it was in New Vegas. New Vegas improved a lot over 3 in a lot of ways, and Bethesda improved over Obsidian's New Vegas in even more ways with 4. So the gunplay is one of those areas, definitely. VATS, I really like that it slows down time instead of freezing it, because I just think it looks cooler aesthetically, and it forces you to still have to think on your toes even when you're in VATS. You can't just sit down and say, ooh, I'm going to shoot this, and ooh, I'm going to shoot that. The only other con I can think of off the top of my head is that leveling up takes an absurdly long time to do in this game. I don't remember it being this bad in 3 in New Vegas. I think it might have been, and I just can't remember. But leveling up takes me quite a while in this game, and it wouldn't be so bad if there was a level cap, but there is no level cap. So what that means is I assume the higher you level up, the harder it is to level up. And if you're already leveling up at a slow rate, at say what I think I'm like level 17 right now, it's going to be even harder to level up once you start hitting like 50 and all that. Whereas in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, when you started leveling up, you leveled up really quick, and then you'd start to see things drop pretty steep as you started to hit the level cap. Of course, I was playing on PC at the time, so I would mod those things out. Let's talk about frame rate issues. I don't know how it is for PC, because there was no way my PC could handle this game. I pretty much have a toaster for a PC, which is why it takes me so long to upload videos all the damn time. But on PS4, I heard Xbox is kind of getting it worse as of now. But on PS4 there are some frame rate drops, and it's not something that's absolutely just, oh my god. Like, most people see some frame rate drops and they for lack of a better word, they literally cry about it. Like, it's ridiculous. As soon as some frames drop, it's like the world is ended and the game is like the worst thing ever. Oh my god, my frames, wah. But anyway, yeah guys, that's just my thoughts on the game so far. I know a lot of people like it, a lot of people dislike it. I personally can't stop playing it, and I always try to approach how I think of a game from an unbiased viewpoint. I try to take popular opinion into account. I try to take unpopular opinion into account. I wouldn't say opinions, I'd say viewpoints, and kind of say, hey, I see what you're saying, but I also see what you're saying, and I'd like to experience it for myself and make my own decisions as to how I feel about something. And as long as I do that and know that a game is a game, and it does work off gameplay mechanics, and it's not going to please everyone, and it's not going to be the best game ever, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, because there's no such thing as a perfect game. I don't care what you say, whatever you like does not appeal to someone. A perfect game would appeal to everyone, and that's why a perfect game does not exist, because there's not one single game that appeals to everyone. But yeah, so I'll catch you guys later.